Alright, I'm gonna need y'all to do me a favor. Go find your mom, dad, grandma, uncle, aunt, brother, sister, girlfriend, wife, husband, boyfriend, whatever the case is. Whoever means the most to you in life, go give them a hug and a kiss. Because where we're going today, you might not make it back. Welcome to the courtroom. Welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23-1. And today, ladies and gentlemen, a double murder suspect is defending himself. Today is his opening statements to the jury. A lot of people don't know too much about the opening statements, but you're not there to bring a bunch of evidence. You're just there to kind of set the platform for what's going to happen in the trial. You're going to hear the defendant say over and over again that the evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show. But y'all might be wondering why he never shows any evidence. That's why, because it's the opening statements. He's just laying down the groundwork of what he thinks he's going to use to beat the trial. Prosecutor and defendant do this, and usually when the prosecutor does it, that's when he paints the worst picture of you known to man. Actually, let me take that back. I think it's towards the end. The final decision, the final verdict, where everyone talks to the jury for the very last time. And if I remember correctly, the district attorney gets the last say. So whatever he or she says to the jury, that's the last thing the jury hears. I could be wrong. Maybe in some situations the defendant goes last. But yeah, they're here doing their opening statements, trying to paint a picture to the jury. Before we get into the video, let me explain a little bit on what he's going to trial for. Ronnie O'Neal III is accused of the March 2018 murders of his girlfriend and his daughter, who had cerebral palsy and couldn't speak. They're also trying to say he did something to his son as well, and his son takes the stand against his father. You'll witness it today, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave if you enjoy this type of content. And just to let you know, the courtroom audio gets really, really low at times, so I'm going to try to boost it as much as possible, but bear with me. He's warming up for real. He's angry.
The evidence is going to show!
Damn. Oh. I haven't watched but just a couple seconds of this damn clip, so everything for the most part that I'm watching right now is the first time me watching it. It literally only took a few seconds for me to know that this was something I had to react to, and big shout out to the person who laced the comment section up with the link to this video. Now let's get back to this guy screaming at the jury on his first 3 words in his opening statement.
And we are under some of the most vicious
It just got real low. The audio.
fabricating, fictitious government you ever seen.
So for his opening statements to the jury, keep in mind he's speaking to the jury, he's trying to persuade the jury, well, and the judge, but mostly the jury. And he starts off by saying that the evidence is going to show that the government is liars, they're fictitious, along with other things I can't remember.
By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderer.
Oh, Lord. Not good.
In Tampa Bay, the state of Florida. You will know why what occurred on March 18, 2018 occurred. And the evidence is going to show that law enforcement tampered with evidence to meet their such high burden of proof. Because originally, it wasn't enough. So we had to tamper with evidence. Since it was such evident already, but we still had to tamper with evidence.
Since it was so evident already, they still had to tamper with evidence. You got to keep in mind these are the opening statements, okay? So you don't know anything that this guy's going to try to prove in the courtroom. He might have some magic tricks hiding under those sleeves. We don't know. We're going to follow this case until the end, but there are plenty of situations where officers have tampered with evidence, so you can't say, oh man, that's impossible, because it's not impossible. It's very possible, and it could have happened to him. We don't know.
The evidence is going to show my son did not see me murder his mom. The evidence is going to show he did not see me shoot his mom. The evidence is going to show my son said many things that are not true.
Now, before we move forward, let's jump into another clip. We're going to come back to the courtroom, but I want y'all to hear his son's testimony, because what he just stated is that a lot of this stuff that his son has said is untrue.
With this boy's act of bravery after surviving the unthinkable.
I just saw my dad holding a shotgun and my mom, and mom screaming at him.
That little boy testifying at his father's murder trial. He's the son of Ronnie O'Neill, his father on trial for the murder of the boy's mother and sister, and also for trying to kill Ronnie, allegedly. Now, because he's representing himself, this creates the unusual scenario of the father cross-examining, questioning his own son. The man is accused of trying to kill him, and now he is basically questioning his son's testimony. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is live at the courthouse in Hillsborough County.
I can't even imagine being 9 years old and witnessing something like this that my father did, and then having to go in the courtroom and testify against my father.
State, you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just saw my dad holding a shotgun and my mom, and mom screaming at him.
And your father had a shotgun. What happened next? What did he do?
My mom ran in my sister's room. My mom ran in my sister's room and terrified into the closet. And then my dad said, come in here and come kill the B-word.
Did you hear any shots from the shotgun before that?
Yes.
How many times?
One.
Was there a time when your mother was able to get out of the closet?
She was stumbling outside, and then I just saw my dad chase her.
What do you remember happening next?
My dad told me to walk around and say some words.
And do you remember what words your father told you to say?
Allah Akbar.
Allahu Akbar?
Yes.
Did he do something to your sister?
Yes, he hit her with an axe. And then he went in the garage, I followed him. He put me on the ground, and then he had his foot on top. I was laying on my stomach, he had his foot on top of me, and he was holding me down. And he was lighting a match.
Mr. O'Neill, any questions?
How you doing, Ronnie?
Good.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Did you see me shoot your mom?
No.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
All right, back to the courtroom. I wanted to play that because a lot of people might be hearing this guy's testimony and actually be believing this shit. Maybe not you, or you, but you. Yeah, you. You believe any damn thing. But I'm not gonna lie, this guy sounds like he has a lot of evidence to prove a lot of different things. And I'm sure one of those jurors is eating it all up right now. All it takes is one juror to think that he's telling the truth, and what do you have? A hung jury. But unfortunately, this guy, even with a mean talk game, once the jury hears the 9-year-old's testimony like you just heard, it's a wrap, man. Actually, the kid's 11 now when he takes a stand, but it took place, I think he was 9.
Show. My son did not see me murder his mom. The evidence is going to show he did did not see me shoot his mom. The evidence is going to show my son said many things that are not true.
His son says many things that is not true. But let's back it up. He says, my son never seen me kill his mother. And when the father asks the son the same question, the son replies, no, I did not literally see you kill my mother. But it doesn't matter if the person literally sees him kill someone. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's usually a duck, right? If you hear a shotgun blast and your father holding a shotgun, chances are the father shot her. Chances are. The evidence is going to show, I'm guessing that's what he's going to say.
Going to show that I called 911 during Kenyatta Barron's 911 call. But all of a sudden, it ends up after I called Kenyatta, after Kenyatta Barron's call was made. Now I'm calling 911. But originally, I called 911 without even knowing she called 911 during her call. But the evidence is going to show that your representatives and law enforcement, local law enforcement, wanted to make it seem like I'm some kind of menace to society. And I ran after killing Kenyatta Barron, knowing that authority was on the way to kill my own children. I wonder why I would do something like that for no reason. And I'm standing here competent as can be, representing myself today.
I believe in order for him to even represent himself, the judge has to agree that he is competent. By the looks of it, man, this guy representing himself is like the perfect ticket for the insanity plea to me. You know, there's a lot of people that come into the courtroom really trying to act crazy, especially when they're facing the death penalty. But if you were to ask me, one of the best ways to prove that you're freaking insane is to represent yourself in a death penalty case and start off by screaming at the jury.
My son did not witnessly, viciously beat his mom to death. The evidence is going to show my neighbor, Khalil Brown, whom they are trying to keep out of this trial, witnessed me take 3 strikes. The evidence is going to show that law enforcement and this administration wanted to make me look like a menace to society. So they added several mini strikes on that video and audio that you just heard. The evidence is going to show that I called my dad after calling 911. But that call is all of a sudden missing from the T-Mobile records that we have acquired from T-Mobile. The 911 call that I made to 911 and the 911 call that you just heard cannot be proven that it was made because after I called for an investigation of those 911 calls, all of a sudden they become missing from all evidence.
Let me say this really quick. A lot of people that go through serious trials like this, if they see one little piece of something messed up, that maybe, you know, the detectives or the police officers might have done. You know, something that to the point where they might have messed up just a little bit. They'll take that shit and they'll run with it, even though you might be right about the 911 call or calling your dad. That really has nothing to do with anything, to tell you the truth. What the hell does a 911 call, whether you called before or after the murder, what does that have to do with anything? I'm sure if he's in lockup right now, right, they probably gave him that suit. He's probably in jail as we speak. And when you represent yourself, you know, they give you a suit to wear, or someone has to bring one for you. But if I were to guess, they have overwhelming amounts of evidence against this guy. Not only his son's testimony, but I can only imagine the physical evidence they have. GSR, which is, you know, the gunshot residue. If he did use a shotgun, that shit be all over him. But yeah, this guy could possibly prove, you know, that he did make a 911 call or he did call his dad, but none of that shit really matters, does it? None of those little things matter, to tell you the truth. It's the big pieces of evidence that matters. They might have a little bit of bearing, but for the most part, what he's trying to prove, it really doesn't prove anything along the lines if he murdered his old lady or not. He's trying to say he called 911 before the person who died did. He's trying to make it seem like, why the hell would I call 911 if I killed the girl? Come on, man. People do that type shit all the time, especially when they're panicking. They don't know the next step of what to do. Call the law. That'll prove my innocence. Why would I call the law if I did it?
The evidence is going to show Keanu Harris supposedly made a 911 call, but you cannot find that on her call log, which we pulled from her actual phone.
Maybe because you deleted it, bruh.
They say she made a call at 11:43. There's no 911 call at 11:43 on her call log. All of a sudden, after I called for an investigation of the original call,
I'm sure they have the recording. The 911 call recording. That's all they need. Anyone could delete the call out the call log.
look alone. The evidence is going to show I look alone. But I am backed by a mighty God.
Once again, he starts off this one with, the evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show that I look alone, but I'm backed by a mighty God. If you have evidence that shows that, please, by all means, let's see it, because that will prove the existence that we have a creator. Now, I don't need no evidence to know we have a creator. That's just my honest opinion. But this guy says there is evidence to go with it. Along with everything else he said, the evidence will prove. But if I were to take a gamble, I would definitely go all in that he would not have any evidence to show that he's backed by a mighty God. There is literally no physical evidence that you can bring to the table to prove that. Maybe there might be in different situations, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get into the technicalities of the whole religious perspective in the courtroom, but I'm just trying to bring up that every time he says something, he's saying the evidence will show. He's got a lot of evidence he's got to be carrying to that table when the time comes.
Evidence is going to show I love my children. And the evidence is going to prove to you that this whole entire case has been tampered with and fabricated before it's all said and done. I can guarantee you that. Mark my words. The evidence is going to show.
Poor girl had cerebral palsy, couldn't even talk.
That they said, I said, come out here, son, and help me kill this bitch. But my neighbor, Khalil Brown, nor my neighbor, Mona Lisa Brothers Gray, or any of her children, Mia Thompson, or Gracie Diggs,
So he's saying that the neighbor's gonna say or testify that she heard him state that the girl killed him twice. Whatever the hell that means. What'd she do, cheat on him twice and he died inside? I don't know what the hell that means, because obviously he's alive. It doesn't matter if them damn people heard you say that to the son's saying it, right? He could have said that shit to his son before the neighbors even came outside. You never know.
The CRA is going to show, for some of you who don't know what that is, that's the criminal report affidavit.
Thank you for explaining. For some of y'all that don't know what that is, it's the criminal report affidavit. Thank you for enlightening me, sir.
Law enforcement lead detective Thomas Dirks is the author of. The evidence will show that in that CRA, I told the neighbor, don't come outside, call 911 now. But you don't hear that on this audio for some reason.
Look, these opening statements go on for a long time. He just goes on and on about the evidence that he's going to bring to the table. We're going to follow this case till the very end, but if I were to bet all my chips, this guy's definitely going to get smoked simply based upon that son's testimony. I'm sure they have a ton of overwhelming evidence that proves he probably did premeditate the murder. But like I said, we're going to follow this case till the very end. If you were to take a guess right now from the clip that I showed you and just hearing this guy talk, what do you think is going to happen to this individual?